This is kind of interesting, also not, but I think it's worth mentioning. I don't spend as much time as I used to on the Simplecast account. I don't know if you are the same, Dan. I know.
I have tried logging into it a couple times. I can't get back into it. So I'm going to need you
Okay.
to send me those credentials again.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
else I'd be on it all the time, to be honest.
Basically, Simplecast, for the people listening, for the people watching, is our I guess you could say our distributor or our DSP. Similar to DistroKid, which is what we use for music for artists. We use something called Simplecast, which, in my opinion, and I think Dan and Tanner would agree, is the best for the money. We pay a flat rate for each show each month. Regardless, it gives us analytics for each show. And right now we have, I think, 5 or 6 shows running. Feed the Jar, All Staff, Butter, Frameform, Debuff. Am I forgetting
The
one?
Daily Rec.
Daily Rec. Yeah, the most important one that we haven't uploaded to in a while.
Yeah, we need
so
to
we
get
have
on that.
so we have 6 shows, so we can look through the analytics of all the shows, and so I don't spend as much time on it anymore because I spend a lot of time on the YouTube studio.
Yeah.
And because honestly, the YouTube analytics are more important to me right now, because the
Trying to grow 'em.
the more numbers that we do on YouTube, the closer we get to monetization, and that's not the case on Simplecast. We can get 1,000 downloads or 500 downloads on an episode, but that doesn't mean you're just going to magically make money. And not necessarily that's what it's all about, but that is the end goal, is to ideally monetize these shows. This is all to say, I didn't even need to explain all that, but the reason I bring it up is because All Staff up to this point has done okay. It's gotten, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 downloads per week. It honestly does.
It's more than I thought.
It honestly does better than the YouTube of it. The YouTube videos of it do better than the audio.
Yeah.
But when I checked this week, it's doing better than normal. And I looked at the analytics, and what I found is that we have a lot of listeners from India. And
that's not real.
This is real. They are listening to this right now. They're listening to us say this right now.
Thank you for
That's great.
And thank you for listening to me say it's not real. I'm sorry.
And the thing is I took a screenshot of it. I'll probably put it on screen now. But we had a large chunk of listeners from like central and northern India in the past couple of weeks, and it's coming from the podcast player called Gaana, Gaana. It's I would say it's the most popular Indian podcast player, I guess.
Like network.
Yeah. Well, it's
not network.
It's I would call it essentially like the Apple Podcasts of India, or the Radio Public, whichever one you want to call, say.
Cool.
And that has since become our top streamed podcast player.
Shout out India.
So if there are people from India listening to the show, we appreciate you listening, because you have made it clear that you enjoy the show based on your listenership. Now, I don't know if that's because of possibly promotion on that podcast player, or the search terms. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, but ever since, I would say, past 3 weeks, it's just been 80% Indian listeners.
How many listens?
I think how many listens? What?
From India?
At least a couple hundred.
That's not bad.
I can
That's cool.
look. I can look it up. Let me pull it up. It's pretty. I mean, it's worth. I mean, that's our listenership.
It's definitely
right
worth
now,
noting. I love that.
You know,
It's very meta, Mason. It's very meta that you're talking about the listeners from this podcast while recording this podcast.
Super meta. No, I think
So-
that's dope.
Yeah, I mean,
India, has
yeah.
over 1 billion, population.
yeah. And there's a
So, it
lot
only
of
makes
there's a
sense.
lot of consumers of media in India.
Yeah.
I would say if it's
Very
not
true.
if it's not in the top 2, it's got to be third. As far
Speaking
as
of India,
media consumption.
we stand with the farmers. At least I stand with the farmers.
Yeah, I
Fight
do
on,
too.
farmers. You got this.
I
That
want
was
to
all.
I want to show you. I'm going to send you guys this screenshot. I'll email it to you, so that you can see it. This is our listenership from India. But I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
That is really interesting.